Welcome, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and it is Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. That's you. And I want to thank everybody who's watching, and I want to invite those of you who are on all the Facebook channels, Unify, YouTube, anybody watching live, come on into our Zoom room. That way you can interact more easily with us. We have an amazing group of presenters tonight, and it's going to be a very lively chat box, I can tell that. And we're going to want to hear your questions and be able to respond. And it's really easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. It takes about a minute. Also, that way we will have your email address, and you'll get notifications from us about how to watch the replay of this show, replays of other shows, and you'll also be able to hear about all the kind of amazing things we're putting together. This is really, really growing in beautiful and wonderful ways. So please go to globalpeacetribe.com and join us. And I do want to thank Unify and all of our broadcast partners, John and Summer Raymer for putting us out on the Sign Network. Thank you, everybody, for getting our show out to the world, and especially a show like tonight's. You know, we are, as humanity, facing something that Al Gore called 15 years ago an inconvenient truth. And boy, it still is damned inconvenient and hard to deal with, hard to think about. But I think we all more and more are realizing climate crisis is very real. It's impacting us in enormous ways. All the scientists are telling us that it's going to get much worse, and it's scary. It's scary what's going on. It's scary what's happening. I personally live in what I used to always call the wine country, and now we call it the wildfire country. And we have wildfire issues where I live about 6 months of the year now. And almost all of you are living in places that have been impacted or are impacted. This is real. And my good friend Vinit and Jan have put together a beautiful show tonight with some of the most amazing leaders that have been fighting the fight for environmental protection and the climate crisis for decades. And we're going to hear from them. We're going to hear the challenges that we're facing, but we're also going to hear some good news and some solutions. And we're even going to hear from Al Gore, not in person, but we have a powerful video from Al that we're going to show. We also have a very powerful after show, so stick around for the after show. So thank you for being with us. And I want to invite everybody, share this out, share it on your Facebook page. Let's get the word out. This is important. So thank you for being with us. And now, with further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my producing partner and co-host, the lovely Deborah Giusti.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome everyone to what, yes, is going to be a really powerful and important show tonight. And this is our 81st show that we've produced every Saturday night since the lockdown, April 2020. And it's now the third show of season 7, A Glimpse of Heaven. And we're offering 13 new shows for season 7. And I want to thank you for your donations that you gave to us while you registered. It's really, really important. Helps us produce these quality shows for you every week. And the donations that you're giving to our donation portal on our website, again, really important for us to continue to produce these shows. And yes, our theme tonight is Climate Emergency, the Way Forward. And Saturday Night Alive is known for bringing you potent themes and information that tap into the extraordinary changes on the planet. And a lot of times it's positive wisdom that inspires hope. But we also tackle the challenging truths and crises that we are going through now in our world, so we can come together and discover and align on the positive solutions. So it's about time that we brought up the critical topic of climate change. And what's true, in the last couple years, our global family, our whole global family has witnessed the effects of climate change, and they're undeniable now. Recently, the Washington Post reports that a study now shows that 85% of the world's population has been affected by human-induced climate change. Global warming and environmental pollution is affecting and reshaping the lives of people, as well as Gaia's animal, insect, and plant families all around the world. So tonight we're bringing together many community and global leaders and activists to share the latest data and solutions Some of what they're going to say is going to be devastating to comprehend. However, we still have the necessary solutions if we come together to change our practices. We'll look at what can be done locally and globally. In addition to the powerful speakers and relevant new videos, we also have incredible musicians that honor Mother Earth. So I'd love to introduce the amazing group of speakers now. We are going to feature Al Gore, who served as a 45th president of the United States, and he's well known for his mission on climate change. He will be with us in video tonight.
We hoped he had been the 45th president. He actually was the vice president.
Vice president.
But we had hoped for president, at least that's watching. So maybe there's a little Freudian there.
And also we have David Corton. He's an American writer, lecturer, engaged citizen, student of psychology and behavioral systems, and he's a prominent critic of corporate globalization. He's also an advocate of ecological civilization. Welcome, David. And we were happy to have Osprey Ariel Lake, who's the founder and executive director of Women's Earth Climate Action Network. She was with us during our pre-show. So thank you, Osprey, for your incredible transmission that you did during the pre-show. And we're very happy to have Claire Dubois. She's an earth-loving social entrepreneur, inspirational speaker who's worked internationally for 18 years, facilitating groups, coaching businesses, and is well known for her powerful organization, the Tree Sisters. Welcome, Claire. And we're very happy to have Sharif Abdullah. He's a consultant, speaker, author, and advocate of social transformation. His mission is to bring currently dysfunctional systems and structures into alignment with our common human and spiritual values to create a world that works for all living things. Welcome, Sharif. And we're really pleased to have also Dwayne Elgin, who's an internationally recognized speaker, author, social visionary who looks beneath the surface turbulence of our time to explore the deeper trends that are transforming our world. Welcome. We will also be featuring again Lori Grace, who's been an active member of the Sierra Club, Union of Concerned Scientists for over 20 years. Her passion is to inspire people to live a greener life, and she's done that in so many ways. She continues to research implement and best solutions that she can find to reduce our carbon footprint. And we're also going to be featuring Jay Mayer in the after show with special guests. He's the founder of Light Touch. He's a producer of broadcast videos, wellness movies. He's also executive producer of Saturday Night Alive. Thank you, Jay. And we've got incredible musicians. Larissa Stowe will be with us tonight. She's one of our favorite ongoing musicians. She performs a blend of mantra-infused pop rock. She definitely comes from the heart. She's connected with Mama Gaia. We're so happy to have her with us tonight. And we have another amazing musician, Josh Jaffe. He's a musician and producer. He's known for new age world music, reggae, and electronic genres. He has collaborated with a Grammy award-winning singer, Michael Rose, and many other artists. Welcome, Josh. We also have a special guest tonight, filmmaker Michael Zanikar. He's Climate Reality LA. He's an award-winning actor and filmmaker, born and raised in Montreal, and a lifelong environmentalist. Welcome, Michael. And also our host, Vinit, who has been passionately working for healthy ecological concerns for the earth for many years. He's assisted in producing the show and bringing on this group of esteemed luminaries.
Thank you.
Also, I want to acknowledge our Green Love Campaign organization. What we do every single show is we use the power of the collective global peace tribe to channel green energy, that's abundant money energy, into powerful organizations who are making a change on our planet and individuals. And tonight we are going to be working with Purpose Earth. Purpose Earth is in total alignment of the show. What they do is their mission is to fund and mentor purpose-driven people and projects with creative solutions to our global challenges. They have awarded $184,000 to 23 grant recipients in 15 countries, and that's only in the last year. They're just getting going. So the power of us donating to them tonight is going to take what we're doing tonight and send it out and really make a difference in action. So I'm going to be posting their link in the chat room, and we'll tell you more about them later. So please, anything you can donate tonight to Purpose Earth, whether it's $5, $500, will make a big difference to what we're talking about tonight. So thank you. And now I want to introduce Vinit Allen, who helped us put together this show. He's been a lifelong, passionate lover of Mama Gaia, serving Mama Gaia in coming out with information and action of what we can do now. He was the executive director for 15 years of Sustainable World Coalition, which was a sustainability nonprofit organization in California. And he published the Sustainable World Sourcebook. He's also the co-founder of Planet Earth Arts, whose mission is using the arts to inspire transformational change. And now he's the co-director of Samasati Sanctuary, which is a beautiful retreat center in Asheville. And thank you, Vinit, for helping us create this show and bringing on this amazing group of presenters, and share with us the inspiration for this show.
Sure, thank you, Deborah. Well, most of us have been getting the news about the climate. It's not good. We can see the effects in wherever we are now. It's clear. The general public has generally known about climate change for about 20 years, and the scientific community about 35 years. And we can see it. If all the evidence is there, it's actually happening faster than most scientists were predicting. Our house is on fire. The Titanic has hit the iceberg and is going down. And we better figure out fast what we need to do about that, both collectively, taking a big look, strategizing, and personally, individually, doing all the actions doing our part to keep the emissions down. But we also know that just keeping emissions down will not come from us just trying to do the right thing and helping recycle a little more and so forth. It's clearly what's needed now is a systemic reset, basing our civilization, our culture, on life-affirming principles, life-protecting, life-enhancing principles, not on simply making the most money or having the most power. So learning from the experts is, in my opinion, the most important thing that we must do now to begin learning about what are the most effective actions, both collectively and individually. So I'm honored to be with the presenters for tonight and continue learning myself, because every perspective that gets presented, and certainly the knowledge is evolving week by week, is new information, new guidance, new understanding of what is a very complex systemic issue and challenge that we have. And yet we know we can do this. So I invite you to open to powerful messages right now. They're short, but they're condensed. It's like the overview of the most important information, understanding, perspective that we can have right now. So I'm honored to be here with you all as well.
Thank you, Vinit, so much. And thank you for your lifelong passion to be here and assist everything that's going on with the planet.
Thank you.
And we love to start our shows with music. Music is the common language that touches our heart, that reaches our soul, and connects us all, and raises the vibration of what we're here to do. So we're really happy to have a new musician that we haven't had before. We're really happy to work with Joss Jaffe. He's a musician and a producer. He's known for his work in New Age world music, reggae. His album Meditation Music debuted #3 on Billboard New Age Albums. And he's been described as a cross-cultural blend. He's performed at a lot of the transformational festivals all around. So thank you, Joss, for being with us. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, take it away.
Take a look around in the eyes of your brother. There's a feeling going on that's unlike any other. When the earth and the sun and the moon get together, they activate a change in the forces of the weather. 'Cause the earth has a message for you. We're trying to help you see through. There's a sea change going on. The earth is alive and she is your mother. And everyone you see is your long lost brother. Now's the time to get together as a family and recognize the ways we can stop this calamity. Because the earth has a message for you. She's trying to help you see through. Because the earth has a message for you. She's trying to help us see through. Because the earth has a message for you. Sea change. There's a sea change going on. There's a sea change going on. There's a sea change going on.
Well, thank you very much, Joss. That was beautiful. Joss is going to give us another song a little bit later on, but I want to direct people, as I always do, to the website where we can really support our musicians. And you've heard me say before on the show, it's been a rough time for musicians. So let's support them. And Joss has a beautiful website. It's his name, Joss Jaffe. That's JossJaffe.com. And Joss, anything you want to direct us to on this particular beautiful website we're looking at?
Thank you so much, Scott. Yes, we have a new song called Tarong, which features the tabla drums of India. And I particularly like this video here, Energy Field. I was going to maybe sing that song tonight, but I instead opted to sing my dear friend Sudama Mark Kennedy's cover because I felt like it just got a little bit more to the heart of the matter here. And I'm going to sing another song by our friend Sudama next. But all this music is music to uplift humanity, and that's why I've produced it, to uplift our energy and feel that love vibration, which is really what we need to solve this problem. We all need to get together and come at it from a viewpoint of love, and like Clara was saying earlier, that our consciousness can lead the way to solve these problems. So we can't even imagine, we can't even conceive of a world where these problems would be here because of that universal love and consciousness.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And, I want to encourage everybody to, at the very least, go to his website and subscribe. That's what I just did. So we can keep track on all the wonderful things that Joss is doing. So if what happens, I'll show you. If you go to the website, it's kind of teeny, but in the upper right-hand corner, that's where you can subscribe. So let's all do that. Let's all go to JossJaffe.com, JossJaffe.com, and subscribe. And Joss, looking forward to seeing you a little bit later on the show.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, great to have you with us. Well, obviously Al Gore has been a tremendous impact on many of us. And although our show, we're very careful not to take a political stance, and we're not taking a political stance here, but we certainly are recognizing that he has been a very significant leader in helping us to begin to become aware of that very inconvenient truth of climate change. And he is still at it. I had the good fortune to be trained by Al Gore. For 3 years in a row, I went to Nashville, Tennessee, and was trained as a climate project presenter. And then I went into high schools and colleges. So I've kind of had a chance to meet him. I actually had dinner with him one night. As fate had it, he and his wife at the time sat next to Lori Grace and I, and we had dinner together. And my experience of him was he's a very beautiful man, very sincere man, somebody who really is doing great work. So he wasn't able to join us tonight. We hope to have him on a future show, but I did find a video that I think is a really good video to show that just gives a very brief kind of update of how he feels about things.
They are just some of the defining moments of a changing planet. The unrelenting fires, 19 named storms striking the U.S. since last year, the record and deadly floods in the wake of Hurricane Ida just weeks ago. Like something straight out of a movie, because it was.
And that is what is at stake. Our ability to live on planet Earth.
Are you ever tempted to say, I told you so?
Oh, gosh, I wish that I had been wrong. I wish the scientists whose work I was simply conveying had been wrong, but they weren't wrong.
The 2006 Oscar-winning film An Inconvenient Truth, featuring former Vice President Al Gore, painted a disturbing portrait of the future. Superstorms, melting ice caps, rising temperatures. Is this crisis unfolding more quickly than you would have anticipated?
This is unfolding faster than the scientists warned us, and now they're telling us we've got to prepare for much worse unless we take action quickly.
On this broadcast only yesterday, we looked at the situation in Guatemala, drought. It's forcing farmers who can no longer raise their crops to consider migrating to the United States. How is the geopolitical map being changed by climate change?
One expert commission predicted that if we don't change course, there would be up to 1 billion climate refugees in the balance of this century. And that's politically destabilizing.
China says it'll stop financing the construction of coal-fired plants. Is that a significant step? How do you view that?
I think it's very significant, Lester, because China has been financing 70% of all the coal plants being built outside of China. So for them to cut off that financing finally is a very good step.
Gore believes minds have been changed.
I think Mother Nature's been the most persuasive advocate. 1 out of every 3 Americans has personally experienced just in this year one of these climate-related extreme weather disasters, and everybody gets the point that they're becoming more frequent and they're becoming more severe.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
So Al's still at it, and we're sure appreciating that. Somebody who has also been working at all of this probably just as long, if not longer, as Dwayne Elgin. And to introduce him, here's our co-host and my friend, Vinit. You muted, Vinit.
Thank you, Scott. Well, Dwayne Elgin, I'm honored to introduce. He's been a friend and mentor, and we've had meetings in my home many years ago around the media reform that needs to happen. And he's moved on to many very important topics. He's an internationally recognized speaker, author, and social visionary who looks beneath the surface turbulence of our times to explore the deeper trends that are transforming our world. His books include The Living Universe, Promise Ahead, Voluntary Simplicity, and Awakening Earth. Real powerful paradigm shifting books that have become pretty famous. I could say a lot more about you, Dwayne, but I'd rather listen to you talk because you're one of the most brilliant people I know, and your understanding of the big picture is critical for us all to understand what to do. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Vinit. And thank you all. It's so good to be here with you and to feel a team spirit as we confront the most extraordinary challenge of a world in great transition. As I've been working on these issues for decades now, people often ask me, well, what can I do? What do you recommend that I do? And I've reflected on that question so many times. And interestingly, I think the most powerful thing that we can do is have powerful conversations. It's been said that power in a democracy is the power to communicate. And the more powerful our questions and conversations are, the more power we bring into the world. So that's the very first thing I would recommend, is that we grow our capacity for strong and potent conversations to advance the world in great transition. And in doing that, there's one critical change that I think is important. The climate crisis is indeed a communications crisis, but it's much more than just climate. We need to have questions looking ahead that match the actual scope and nature of the challenges that we face. And so we need to have a match between the questions and the conversations. So that's what I would like to speak about very briefly this evening. And to begin, what I would like to do is show you a brief 1-minute video from a documentary that's on our Choosing Earth website. And this will show you what I mean by the scope of the challenges that we face. To understand the challenges and opportunities facing humanity, let's take a closer look, a systematic look, wide, deep, and long. We look wide, examining interconnected issues in order to gain a broad perspective, one we can't get from a singular focus. We look deep, recognizing the outer world reflects our inner condition. It is vital to explore inner realities and the invisible influences that are driving outer trends. Finally, we look long, expanding our vision beyond the short term of the next 5 to 10 years. Trends become much clearer when projected further out, enabling us to see how they impact one another and future generations. By looking wide, deep, and long, we can start to see this pivotal time in human history more clearly, and we can move deliberately toward a purposeful future. Now, when we go to the mass media, when we go to the politicians, most of their attention is narrow, shallow, and short. And if our attention is narrow, shallow, and short, we are going to be behind the learning curve to really address the problems that we face. So let's look at this just a bit more. We need to look wide. We need to look beyond climate change, as important as that is, because there are other critical changes underway right now. One is species extinction. It's been said we're in the midst of the 6th greatest extinction of life on this planet. The web of life is fraying. It's being damaged and wounded. And that is the ecological foundation from which all of our other actions unfold. So we must include species extinction and the well-being of the web of life. Also important is resource depletion. And the most critical resource, I think, is water. Water has been said, water is destiny. And our destiny is being profoundly compromised because we're not paying attention to the droughts and the depletion of aquifers around the earth. Thirdly, there's extreme inequities. That's another factor that needs to be brought into our collective attention. There is immense differences of wealth and well-being between the rich and poor on this planet. And if people are struggling for survival, it's going to be very difficult for impoverished people to pull together for a common future when they're in a place of great tension and conflict. So we must begin to look wide. We also must look deep. And as Claire was suggesting, we live in a living universe. That is the indigenous mindset that was with us thousands of years in the past. And we are in the process of transitioning to learn how to live in this greater aliveness that is our living universe. Finally, we need to look long, not just the next 3 to 5 years. We need to look ahead 30, 40, 50, even 100 years or more, taking into consideration multiple generations into the future. So if we look wide, deep, and long, we have the basis for transforming our journey on this earth. Thank you. And I hope you can look at our website, choosingearth.org, for more information.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. And again, I want to encourage everybody, please go to choosingearth.org. And Dwayne, thank you for the incredible work you're doing. And thank you for providing such beautiful insight and perspective of how to manage this incredibly epic thing that we all have to deal with.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you. Thank you so very, very much. Now I'm turning it over to my partner, Deborah.
Yes, we're going to be sharing Purpose Earth, correct?
That's correct.
Wonderful. As you know, we have a very successful Green Love campaign, and that's because of you, the Global Peace Tribe, that comes together and uses this green energy, our money flow, to channel it to valuable organizations. And we've raised $125,000, and I'd love to raise a lot tonight for this incredible organization. As you've heard the phrase, it takes a village to manifest different projects. Well, right now, with what we're talking about, it takes a global village. So if we can get together and help fund this organization, it will make a big difference. Purpose Earth represents exactly what we're talking about tonight. They've created a vehicle that allows us to make a difference now. Their mission is to fund and mentor purpose-driven people projects with creative solutions to our global challenges. And again, they've awarded over $184,000 in 15 countries around the world, and they're just getting started. So it's a place where you can put whatever you have available into them, and it will go to the organizations that are making a difference. They believe purpose is the most important, powerful tool for transformation. And by empowering and supporting each other to live and take action from our sense of purpose, we can co-create a world that unifies all. They envision a world that works for everyone, co-created by a unified culture of peace that empowers and supports one another to live and act from a place of purpose. So this is why we've chosen this organization, and we're going to share with you some videos that will share a bit more about what they're actually up to.
Hello, my name is Dr. Marty K. Casey, and I am a proud council member of Purpose Earth. Purpose Earth's global commitment to our environment and social change has uniquely created a culture of unity by supporting grassroots groups and individuals who are introducing solutions to some of our planet's greatest environmental changes. As the climate crisis increases, so does the support from Purpose Earth. It is our will to dedicate and support organizations from around the world with a practical approach. And this is why we are proud supporters of Festival of a Child and Timotina Conservation in Africa, along with so many other worthy organizations. Purpose Earth is a global initiative to raise funds and to raise spirits. We now invite you to join our efforts. Please visit purposeearth.org to join a global team with a heart of community. And you can do this just by simply giving today. Thank you so much, Saturday Night Alive, for allowing us to be your sponsor for the week.
You might recognize Dr. Marty Casey. She's been on this show, and she's also been on the Straight Talk show. And she created the Ungun Institute and is quite a leader. You know, that's one of the things that's been happening really since the pandemic began. So many of us are coming together to collaborate and to work together. And it's just beautiful how all these organizations are coming together. While I pull up the next video, again, I want to remind everybody, take your camera, phone, put it on the camera, and go right towards the little dinosaur. And that's how you can donate. It makes it really, really easy. You know, even if you only donate $5 or $1, one of the things that often happens is people that we do raise money for are always really touched by how many donations that they've gotten, even if it's $5, $1. So please do be generous if you can. And even if you can only afford a little bit, pop it in there because it helps to create that momentum and it feels good. And as you're donating, remember to bless it. Maximum grace for Purpose Earth. Maximum grace for all the people that Purpose Earth are supporting. And you're going to see tonight that they're supporting the disenfranchised. And so here is a wonderful video that'll give you a little bit more information. It's going to take me a minute to pull it up. And what is really beautiful is that they are supporting those people that don't normally get support, that we don't know about. So they are spanning the globe. So your support goes, and by the way, every dollar goes straight to support for their projects. So here we go with a little bit more video for you. There we go.
How do you transform waste to gold? My purpose project is titled Transforming the Environment, Transforming Lives. My purpose project was hosted in a peasant farming community in the eastern part of Ghana called Esikabu. I went into the community to teach the women and the youth there how to transform the waste they create in their community into beautiful jewelry and baskets and artifacts for sale. Before I went to start the project, the people in the community were familiar with only one livelihood, that is farming, transforming and making cassava dough out of the cassava they produced. But now they have been empowered with a second skill, that is making with their hands jewelry and other artifacts for sale. This has created a lot of excitement and hope, especially for the youth, as they know that they can make something out of them. They can make something for themselves that they once didn't know.
Beautiful work that they're doing. Even my dog agrees, right? What do you think? Yeah, she's been especially affectionate. So if Jasmine Bear is in favor of it, I'm in favor of it, we're all in favor of it. Let's all support Purpose Earth. Okay, it's time for some music. And I am so grateful that one of our absolute favorite musical artists is with us. And of course, I'm talking about Larissa Stowe and the amazing bench. And she always has amazing people with her. And look at she's got, I see a flautist. Hey, Larissa. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad you're with us, surrounded by two good-looking guys. And so welcome. Larissa Stowe, of course, is one of our favorite musical artists. She is very popular on the festival circuit. We'll take a look at her website after the song. Larissa, what do you got for us tonight? We're not hearing you.
Can't hear me.
Let's try. Do a little test.
Here, let's see here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, so I'll have to turn. Okay, so hopefully you let me know because this was part of our massaging was not having that so loud before. So
Right, okay. If you hear me going like this, it means turn it down. This means turn it up. How's that?
okay, fantastic.
Great.
So this song is a song that I wrote quite a while back, and it was a song inspired by Julia Butterfly. And for those of you, you know, I'm sure pretty much everybody on this panel knows who Julia Butterfly is, but she was a huge inspiration to me, her courage, and out of her inspiration, this song was born. So.
And also like to throw in, we've got Richard Hardy on the flute. He's been in the Shakti tribe just about as long as I have.
That's right.
Since
one year
like,
shy of Ben.
2007, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so we are all old mates here.
Yes, we are. It's a family. Baby blue, who is spinning you? Is it gravity that holds your place, or love's embrace? Is it true I make you cry when I act as if you're not alive? You give so I can live, then I go unconscious, dying by, but aren't I just you in a different form? And aren't we both just dying to be born into love? When I see you, I see myself. Love, when I know you, I know myself. We stole the sea, we broke the back of the redwood forests. Remember the Lorax and Dr. Seuss, but there's no rewinding this video back. And beautiful Julia Butterfly lived in a treehouse perched in the sky, and she wouldn't come down till the wrecking crew turned their indifference around. I hope that I am her in a different form, gathering my courage to be born into love. spinning you? Is it gravity that holds your place, or love's grace? Aren't we are one in different forms? And are we all just dying to be born? Not we all just dying to be
Oh, that was just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. All three of you, each of you, just so lovely. And in this show where we're dealing with such hard stuff, thank you for bringing us into our hearts and just giving us a chance to kind of digest everything that we're hearing tonight. Thank you. Lisa will be back with one more song. And just a reminder again, please, let's always support our artists. She has a beautiful website, larissastowe.com. It's her name, LARISSASTO.com, larissastowe.com. And again, thank you, all three of you. We'll see you in a little while. All right, here's Vinit to introduce our next speaker.
Thanks, Scott. Wow, beautiful music, beautiful show. Thank you all. Well, I'm honored to introduce David Corten, another friend and colleague. David is an American writer, lecturer, engaged citizen, student of psychology and behavioral systems, and a prominent critic of corporate globalization and an advocate of ecological civilization. I love that distinction. He is founder president of the Living Economies Forum, an active member of the Club of Rome. He is the co-founder of Yes Magazine, now Yes Media, and he's the author of numerous influential books, including the international best-selling When Corporations Rule the World and The Great Turning from Empire to Earth Community, and most recently, Change the Story, Change the Future, A Living Economy for a Living Earth. Well, David, I look forward to hearing how you would speak to the systemic causes of climate change and what we can do about that.
Vinit, thank you. Yes, science tells us we now have less than a decade to address potentially irreversible damage to the Earth on which our well-being, indeed our very existence, depends. And awareness is growing of the imperative to reduce our carbon emissions, but we've scarcely begun to acknowledge the full depth and scope of the transformation we must now navigate to secure the human future. Our carbon emissions are but one of our multiple human assaults on nature that are reducing Earth's ability to provide the stable temperatures and ever-renewing supplies of clean air, water, healthy soils, and much else essential to our existence and our well-being. Meanwhile, drought, floods, and fires combine with extreme and growing inequality to reduce ever more people to lives of desperation as homeless refugees. It is becoming increasingly evident that humans are on a path to social and environmental collapse and potential self-extinction. It is for good reason that people are losing faith in established institutions that are proving incapable of addressing the challenge. This is an emergency. Now, we're supposed to be talking here about hope, and fortunately, there is a positive side to this emergency. It is awakening us to the reality that the cause of our crisis resides in flawed institutions that cannot be fixed. They must be replaced, and rapidly. Transformational changes that long seemed a good idea have become immediate imperatives grounded in a foundational insight of our indigenous ancestors that South Africans call Ubuntu. I am because you are. Modern science now confirms it. Life exists, can exist only in communities of living organisms that self-organize to create and maintain through their labor the conditions essential to their individual and collective existence. For some 195,000 years, humans recognized life's interdependence and generally accepted responsibility for its care. But then we reorganized as nation states ruled by kings who controlled by military force the resources of the land and the labor of its people to gratify their personal ego-driven greed with displays of regal splendor. As the rise of democracy challenged the arbitrary power of monarchs, aspiring autocrats shifted from monarchy to corporations as their favorite institutions of expropriation and exploitation. Control of Earth's lands and waters shifted to global financiers who ruled by their control of our access to money. By controlling the creation and allocation of money, they control the corporations that control our access to food, water, a place to live, and all the other essentials of human living. They also control the politicians who make the rules and depend on money to win elections, and the judges appointed by those politicians to interpret those rules. Money, it turns out, is more effective than an army for consolidating elite rule. Armies and their commanders are physical and therefore highly visible. What is visible is easily attacked. Money, however, is nothing but a number with no meaning or power outside the human mind. Yet because our access to a means of living depends on it, we willingly yield our power to it. And while the politicians who make the rules and appoint the judges are highly visible, the financiers who hold the real power are not, which makes them difficult to identify and attack. Furthermore, because of our mental conditioning, money evokes images within our mind of all that money will buy, both to fulfill essential needs and to provide the pleasures to which we aspire. Yet it poses no evident material threat. We fear a personal lack of money, but rarely do we fear having too much, and we're easily convinced to seek more. Yet once society is structured to make us dependent on money to access the essentials of living, it gives absolute power to those who create it and control our access to the wages by which we earn it and the interest-bearing loans by which we rent it. We're rapidly reaching the limits of the abuses of the private exploitation of power that human society and Earth can endure. The work at hand comes down to 4 essential imperatives as we undertake the challenge of living into being the ecological civilization on which a viable human future depends. First, we must embrace life rather than money as our dominant value. 2, we must distribute power among self-governing living communities of place rather than concentrate it in profit-maximizing transnational corporations. 3, we must make cooperation rather than competition our dominant mode of relating to one another and Earth. And 4, we must accept the human responsibilities that come with the human rights to which we presume to be entitled. The time is now, and the choice is ours. Back to you, Vinit.
Thank you, David.
And I want to quickly, if I can, I want to show people, David has written some really important books. And so I just wanted to pull this up because I know that just as I listen to you speak, David, you have such a clear way of expressing complex stuff and hard stuff. And so if people want to get more of David, please go to his books. The Great Turning, When Corporations Rule the World, Change the Story, Change the Future, and The Ecological Civilization, From Emergency to Emergence. And you can find all of this and all about David at davidkorten.org. That's David Korten, spelled Korten.org. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
It's, you know, each one of these presenters is really worthy of reading their books, spending weekends with them, hours with them. They're all like just amazing leaders in this field. And it's almost an embarrassment of riches having all of you on the show. And I also feel almost embarrassed keeping people to 6 minutes or 8 minutes. So thank you, everybody, for your dedication to being here tonight. As those of you who watch our show on a regular basis know, one of our favorite features are the Wisdom Jewels, put together every week by Jay and Jan, where we take the topic of the night and have quotes for a couple of minutes with lively music. It's always a wonderful part of the show. And once again, Jay and Jan have done it with just a beautiful selection. So let's take a look at tonight's Wisdom Jewels. Thank you very much, Jay and Jan, for creating that beautiful video. Very poignant quotes. And speaking of Jan, she's also somebody who's played a big role and putting together many of our best shows, including tonight's show. Thank you, Jan, for being such a wonderful producer. It's great collaborating with you. And I believe you're going to introduce our next guest.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thanks so much. And it's really an honor to be here tonight. And our next guest was introduced to us by Robin Streichler, who's been one of our longtime viewers. And our guest tonight, Michael Zelniker, is our featured sort of artist. He's an award-winning actor and filmmaker. He was born and raised in Montreal, and he has been a lifelong environmentalist. He's currently working on a documentary, which we can't really view tonight, but he's got some special treats for us. The movie, The Issue with Tissue, is a boreal love story, and it's about protecting and conserving the boreal forest and the First Nations peoples that have called the boreal home for thousands of years. Michael has been with Climate Reality LA, and in August 2018, he underwent the training with former Vice President Al Gore, and then he was elected co-chair of the LA chapter. And just so you know, today there are more than 36,000 trained climate reality leaders in 170 countries. And what I wanted to say about Climate Reality LA project is that they're working on climate solutions that include racial justice work, and their climate curricula committee asked for your letter of support and petition to have the LA Unified School District pass their climate literacy resolution for all subject matter. And I know that Michael was very instrumental in getting into the schools and getting the climate into the educational system. So anyway, wanted to thank you, Michael, for being here tonight with us. And we're really looking forward to what you have to share with us tonight on your movie and your experience.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you for inviting me. I'm grateful to be here. I acknowledge with respect and gratitude the Tongva, Chumash, and Kizh people on whose traditional territory I live and work. In April 2020, I learned that large, intact, old-growth forest landscapes across the Canadian boreal are being clear-cut for the manufacture of toilet paper. Having grown up in Montreal, spending my summers at camp about 100 miles north in what I now know is the southern edge of the boreal, having developed a deep love for forests and trees, I felt compelled to find out what was happening in the boreal. I found it appalling that large multinational corporations like Procter & Gamble are sourcing their pulp and paper fiber for products like Charmin and Bounty from these existentially critical forests, forests that we literally depend on for our very survival, so we can wipe our bums with softer, more plush toilet paper. There's hardly a more obscene illustration for what's gone wrong. I learned early on that the boreal is home to more than 600 First Nations communities, and that any story about the boreal must place them front and center. After more than 100 hours on Zoom with Indigenous elders and leaders, scientists, and activists, all who opened their hearts and shared their stories, it became clear to me that the little-known, largely untold story of the boreal must be told. On August 14th, I flew from my home in Los Angeles to Vancouver, quarantined for 14 days, before embarking on a 42-day journey from coast to coast, ending up in a remote part of northeastern Quebec at an Innu gathering, along the way accumulating more than 125 hours of interview, landscape, and wildlife footage. I learned that the boreal stores more carbon than any other terrestrial landscape on the planet, that its ability to sequester carbon is what makes life sustainable on planet Earth. It is North America's nesting ground, with approximately 2 billion birds a year nesting there, as many as 5 billion migrate south in the fall, filling our backyards and parks with songs we love. It is habitat to the iconic species like the endangered woodland caribou. And it is home to more than 600 First Nations communities who have called the boreal home for thousands of years. It is among the most important ecosystems on the planet, and most people have never even heard of it, let alone that it is under significant threat by industrial development. What began as a story about trees and toilet paper has evolved and emerged into a much broader story that takes us from trees to toilet paper to treaties, from carbon to climate change to colonization, from water to ceremony to birds to caribou. I have come to understand the larger systemic issue that we're going to have to confront and reconcile is the issue of disconnection. Disconnection is what allows us to do things like colonization, go into wild spaces, exploit the resources without any care or concern for how the rest of creation is being impacted. Disconnection is what allows us to clear-cut existentially critical forests for the manufacture of toilet paper. Disconnection allows us to throw away our children's future, leaving them the legacy of an uninhabitable planet. Elder Dave Porter, Casca First Nation, says, when we're in a forest, we're with family. The trees are our ancestors. They're talking to us, telling us stories of life. The question is, are we listening? Dr. Suzanne Simard, author of Finding the Mother Tree, talks about the interconnected, mutually beneficial, symbiotic nature of the underground mycorrhizal networks that exists in forests, allowing the trees, plants, fungi, all the species that thrive in forests to live regeneratively, cooperatively, sustainably. Trees have been on planet Earth for almost 400 million years. Clearly, they know a thing or two about longevity. Given that trees provide us with the very breath of life, and we in turn provide them with the carbon dioxide they need to photosynthesize, which in turn provides us with the oxygen we need to breathe, can there be a more intimate, more mutually beneficial relationship? I have come to believe that the trees are talking to us, guiding us, that the way forward is not through survival of the fittest in competition to the death, but through cooperation, collaboration, and mutually beneficial relationship. As Elder A.J. Felix, Sturgeon Lake First Nation, says, let's be family again. We do all come from the same stuff. We are made of the same Mother Earth. We are all related, right down to our shared DNA. The sooner we embrace this reality, the sooner we are going to find our way out of the existential crisis we are currently facing. Unfortunately, because the documentary has not been released yet, sadly, I won't be able to share any of it with you tonight. I can, however, share with you some photos and some of what I learned during this journey. So I'm going to share my screen with you all. And play this. And there we go. So what we do to the land, we do to ourselves. I heard this repeatedly from various elders. Natural law, indigenous law, has a completely different construct than colonial settler way of thinking. Indigenous people view themselves as a part of nature, not superior to, not there to control it or dominate it or exploit it, but as a member of a larger family that they depend on for their survival. Natural law says, take only what you need, give thanks for what you take, with an eye towards 7 generations ahead. So when the indigenous people I met with pick berries, they take only what they need. They do this knowing that the berries they leave behind will be consumed by the bears, who will later poop out the berry seeds, which become the organic fertilizer for a new berry patch the following season. Regenerative natural law. This is a map of the Boreal, the largest remaining intact forest landscape on planet Earth. This totem pole is outside the Turtle Lodge on Lake Winnipeg. The Turtle Lodge is a center for reconciliation, a gathering place for Indigenous knowledge holders under the leadership of Elder Dr. Dave Corshane. This is outside Jasper, Alberta. This is a typical boreal landscape. Thousands of coniferous trees interlaced by freshwater streams and lakes. The boreal has so much water, it is sometimes called the Blue Forest. We also saw some horrific industrial activity because in these northern communities, much of the work is generated by various extractive industries, especially logging, pulp, and paper. This is a Resolute Forest Products mill, the largest logging company in the Boreal. Looks like a death camp for trees. This is what a clear cut looks like. The leftover wood that you see in the foreground is what they call slash piles, because these are the parts of the trees that are not useful to a logging company. This is what they call waste, and often just sits on the land decomposing, emitting carbon dioxide for years and years while nothing grows back for decades and decades in these areas because of the logging scars left by this logging infrastructure, roads, slash piles, burn pits. This is outside Chapleau in northern Ontario. This is what the Boreal looks like before human industrial disturbance. This is on the George River in northeastern Quebec, about 500 miles north of Quebec City. We were invited to join an Innu First Nation gathering that they hold every year in honor of the caribou. The Innu call themselves a caribou people because they depend on the caribou for their very survival. I cannot adequately describe how thrilling it was to see up close woodland caribou. This is the tent I slept in for 5 nights on what is considered sacred Innu territory. The Innu have been meeting in this area of the boreal for thousands of years because this is where caribou crossed the George River during their migration. Here I am with Serge Ashini Goupil, who runs the camp. In 2002, viewing a documentary, Serge discovered that his great-grandfather would come to this spot in the early part of the 1900s. This inspired him to recreate this annual Innu gathering, which he's been leading for the last 15 years. I've never been to another First Nations gathering. I can only tell you my experience was of a level of hospitality and generosity that I have never experienced before. You can see in this photo that he renamed his cabin Michael's Ranch. If that isn't the definition of hospitality, I don't know what is. This here is Valerie Courtois, Executive Director of the Indigenous Leadership Initiative. Val was the Indigenous leader who invited me to join this Innu gathering. Among the many initiatives that ILI engages, they organize land guardian programs which bring young Indigenous women and men back to the land, guided by elders. They reconnect young people with the land, their culture, and their traditional way of life, training them to reassume their ages-old stewardship role of the land. These guardian programs are fast becoming one of the most potent solutions to the environmental degradation that is being wrought all over the planet. Because the solutions we need are going to be led by Indigenous people, the people who have lived on the land in harmony with the trees, water, animals, all of creation for thousands of years. They do so because they recognize the interdependence of all of Mother Nature's creatures, and that our very survival depends on their survival. We are allowing this to be turned into this. That for me is an unacceptable proposition, especially when we have options that are far more sustainable and environmentally responsible. What I learned perhaps most of all is there is an army of people, especially Indigenous women and men, who are fighting to protect and conserve the boreal. I am honored to have had the opportunity to interact and support the tireless work they've been doing for years and years, more or less anonymously. Our goal in making this documentary is to provide a platform for their voices, for their stories to be heard, in hopes of inspiring the necessary changes we are all fighting to make manifest before it's too late. I'll end where I began. What we do to the land, we do to ourselves. It's not only the right thing to do to take care of our boreal forests because they are home to more than 600 First Nations, a home they've inhabited for thousands of years. We should protect and conserve these sacred lands, not only because the boreal forests are habitat to iconic species like caribou, bears, moose, and wolves. If one views it from a purely selfish perspective, the ecological services the boreal forests provide by sequestering all the billions of tons of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. These trees literally breathe out the oxygen that allows us our very existence, our ability to live and thrive. These trees are performing a kind of CPR on us each and every breath of each and every day. Conserving and protecting forests, the trees that are housed therein, is in our self-interest. Literally, our survivability depends on their sustainability. To say nothing about just how much we receive from a forest when we get to spend some time wandering inside one. We are with long lost friends and family. As Elder Dave Porter said, trees are our ancestors. They are talking to us, telling us stories of life, of who we are, where we came from, and the way forward. The question is, are we listening? In order for Mother Nature to continue taking care of us today the way it has since the beginning of time, depends on whether we start taking better care of her. The ways in which we are exploiting Mother Earth is literally destroying her ability to take care of us. I thank you for listening. We anticipate the movie and the series will be available for viewing sometime in 2022. I look forward to sharing it with you then. And if there's time.
Thank you very much, Michael. I so appreciate. We'll definitely look forward to previewing your movie when it comes out. And just want to remind everybody that Michael is very involved with a very important organization. They've helped to support tonight's show, and that's the laclimatereality.org, laclimatereality.org. And I want to encourage everybody to go there. They're doing great work. Just before the show began, Michael was telling me that they've actually successfully gotten the Los Angeles Unified School District to make a very significant pledge to doing their job of reducing the climate crisis. So thank you, Michael. It's great to have you with us. I also want to just say to the people in the chat box, I love reading that people are going to stop buying Charmin. They're going to ask Costco to do that. And your comments about our speakers and what we're talking about tonight are really, really welcome. Political comments, getting distracted with vax or not vax, please let's not go there. We are blessed to have remarkable speakers with us tonight. Let's pay attention to what they have to say, and let's put our comments and our focus on that. Thank you very much. And I'm turning it now over to Deborah to introduce our next presenter or performer.
Thank you, Scott. And what a beautiful, powerful show. Thank you so much to all the speakers. And now we get to integrate all that with music that helps us, again, get into our heart, get into our spirit, and connect and raise our frequency to a whole nother level. We're going to bring back Josh, who did a beautiful song in our opening that really spoke to the care and love that we all have for Mama Gaia. And Josh, happy to bring you back again for another song.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I'm going to begin this next piece with a little bit of flute. And I just want to say really quick, I'm really grateful to be amongst all these incredible presenters. And I just want for one moment just to play this flute so that we can sort of integrate this experience in a heart-centered way. And then I'll go into another song that my dear, dear friend Sudama Mark Kennedy wrote, which I feel is very relevant to right now. Thank you so much. California, there's no power. What about all that sunshine? On my shoulder, it burns and burns in the solar tills. It turns and turns in the windmills and in the waterfalls that flow through us all. Green, green, green evolution. Green, green, green solution. Green, green, green evolution. Green, green, green solution. We're caught in the grip of a collective trip of nuclear and fossil fuels. Immaculate deception, it seems like we've all been fooled. Look what they done to California. Took the money and run California. Took the power to the highest bidder, so they got their bonus just a little bit quicker. Get off the grid, take a solar shower. Tell them we don't need their power. Green, green, green evolution. Green, green, green solution. It's a green, green, green evolution. Green. Fission, fusion, so confusing. What the power you be using? Coal and oil on the wrong track. Let's get rid of all the smokestacks. The power Nikolai Tesla got it right out of the air. 0 point revelation. Tomorrow, celebration. Get off the grid, take a solar shower. Tell them we don't need their power. Green, green, green evolution. Green, green, green solution.
Oh, what a perfect song, Joss. Absolutely perfect for us. And what it's like to have you with us. We've heard wonderful things. And of course, I met you many years ago. It's good to see you again. And I want to just, again, remind people that you can get all things Joss Jaffe at his website, which is his name, Joss, Joss, Jaffe, JAFFE.com. And Joss, I sure hope you'll come back and be on the show again sometime soon.
It would be my pleasure. It's an honor to be with you all tonight. And I really feel in my heart everyone's intention here, all the presenters and everyone in the audience. We need you all. You're all so important, and we can't solve this problem without every one of you and the love in your heart. So thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate you.
Aho, ashe. God bless you. That's beautiful. Thank you. And here's Vinit, who's got some wonderful information for us, and another presenter.
Thank you, Scott. I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of the big UN climate change conference coming up. That will be, it's COP26, Conference of the Parties. Is the big global summit that of extreme importance right now, coming up October 31st to November 12th in Glasgow in England, in Scotland. The other thing that may be more accessible for those of us here, the Bioneers Conference is coming up November 11th through 13th. That's online. My experience is they have just the cream of the most important, passionate, well-expressed presenters coming up to give the latest understandings of where we are in the various big issues that we're confronting now. So I highly recommend just tuning into it's bioneers.org. It's now my pleasure to introduce Claire Dubois. Claire is an earth-loving social entrepreneur and inspirational speaker who worked internationally for 18 years, facilitating groups, coaching business leaders, and creating behavior change processes within the personal growth sector. She is founder of Tree Sisters and an incredible, clear, passionate voice for all the big issues we're facing now. And I would love to hear what Claire has to say to build on what we heard in the pre-show that for me is clarifying and inspiring me to jump into action. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you, Vinit. Thank you, Scott and Deborah and everyone. And thank you to all of you that are here. Like, how amazing that we can talk about climate change and you still show up. So I'd like everyone to just give themselves a really great virtual pat on the back, or even like a, stroke your own face and bow before the beauty of your own soul. I mean, this is not a simple time to be alive, and I can talk about trees till the cows come home, and they are my greatest love, along with the rest of the planet, frankly. But actually, what I really want to talk about is us. It's what it means to be human. Is the conundrum that we find ourselves in, or the cauldron of alchemical potential that we find ourselves in, the reality that is what we have, whether you believe in it or not, I believe, chosen to be birthed into, chosen to be here for. And if you believe that you choose your time of birth, if you believe that we get to have some choice in that, then you might also believe that there would be a reason that you have chosen to be here at what is probably the greatest turning point for humanity, where we get to crash or we get to leap. It's going to be one or the other, and we don't know. If you know the science, it looks like we're going to crash. If you really understand that we have no idea what a human being actually is, then there's a distinct possibility that we could leap. If you don't believe that that, you know, that you get to choose your point of birth, then, well, you're here anyway. So what are you going to do with it? So to me, there's one choice right now, and that is to turn into the skid, to turn into everything that's coming, or to turn your back on it and to miss the greatest opportunity for shared evolution that we've ever offered ourselves. And, you know, I think probably everybody else here has decided to do the turn into the skid version of events, because let's face it, turning your back to this is not empowering. It's not empowering. It's destabilizing, it's frightening, it's like an abdication of responsibility. You know, if there's a tsunami bearing down on you, don't you want to see? Don't you want to know what's coming? Don't you want to have some sense of capacity to take some action? And more than that, more than just taking action, don't you want to discover who you are? You know, don't we all want to know who we are, what we're made of? Don't we want to have the most meaningful incarnations we could possibly give it? You know, you hear people talk about, oh, there's souls queuing up to get onto planet Earth. You know, this is where it's all happening. And meanwhile, we've got so many people here going, oh my God, I just want to get off the planet. You know, I don't want to be here. I want to be as far, you know, like, let's see how many incredibly wealthy people are trying to figure out how to trash this planet and then get onto another one. Like, God damn it, this planet of ours is so miraculously, extraordinarily beautiful. And we're part of that. You know, it's very easy to forget that we're made of the same rain that has been raining in this world for hundreds of thousands of millions of years. You know, the water that is in your veins was in the dinosaurs, you know, has passed through God knows how many trees, been rained and rivered and rained and rivered and rained and rivered. And now it's in the river of you. You know, we aren't separate from this planet. We're made of this planet. It's just we happen to also be made of stardust. We happen also to be made of sunlight. We happen also to be made with a cosmic breath of some description that is part of all that is. You know, in this moment, you are being kissed all over by a sky that has no limit, but vast intelligence. So then what's the possibility of humanity that a limitless cosmos worth of intelligence is available for this little bit of planet that's walking around trying to wake up to who or what it is? You know, is the cosmos and the sky going to just go out on shopping? Is that the game we're playing? Do we think that limitless intelligence merged with Gaia in her absolute magnificence is just going to throw us off away because she can't be bothered to wake up to the miracle of life? You know, we're doing a really good rendition of that, but I just don't buy it, because I think inside every one of us is extraordinariness waiting for us to realize that that's what's here. And it's frightening. It's frightening because we've been taught that we're less than, we've been taught to give our power away, we've been taught that we're not sovereign, we've been taught that a culture that is wiping out its own life support machine is a sane culture, and it's not. So we're living in an insane mindset that has created fundamental separation from all that is, and we're being told that that's normal. And any form of breaking out of what is normal feels incredibly weird in your body because we're being cultured and conditioned to a certain way of being, but that way that we've been conditioned is fractured, it's a lie. We're not here to destroy ourselves. We're here to love ourselves and each other into the fullest expression of what a human being is. And we have no idea what that even means. And that's why I've got hope. There are indigenous people on this planet who know how to put crystal in the ground and create water, who know how to work with the weather, who know how to go to Fukushima and do prayer and reduce radioactivity. They are much closer to understanding what a human being is because they are in dynamic relationship with nature, which is their nature. Human nature is nature. And if we log on to nature rather than just logging on to the bloody internet, we can log on to the real internet, which is actual creation, then we will find that we have no edges. There is nowhere where you end and nature begins, because there's only one being here, and it is a being full of light and intelligence. And if we can open our minds and our bodies and our nervous systems with enough humility to let life as it really is pour in, till we're on our knees in humility before the miraculousness of creation, then you get to be broken open through the conundrum that we have created for ourselves. Broken open through fear and shock and all the rest of the stuff that you naturally feel when you feel powerless and when a tsunami is breaking on you. But then if you can open your arms and say, do me, come on. We've created this. We've created this for our own evolution. Then what are we going to do? Pretend it's not happening? Or are we going to let it rip us open beyond all the limitations that are nothing to do with who we are, so that we can find that immensity, that love, that meaning, that passion, that grief, that rage, that ecstatic nature that is nature. You don't see a tree going, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so beautiful. Oh, I'm just going to strip. Oh, I'm too much. Oh, I'm too little. You know, nature doesn't do this weird thing that we do with ourselves. It just gives itself completely. That, to me, is the moment that we have created for ourselves. We've created a moment of absolute radical possibility for ourselves, where if we're willing to fully feel and fully face everything that we have created for ourselves, these are the circumstances for our own transcendence. Because we are life, and life wants us to wake up. Because we are nature, and nature is not here to self-combust. Because we are extraordinary potential. We are a living cosmos inhabited in this little bit of Gaia, which is billions of years worth of wisdom and experience and experimentation. And here's humanity standing there, sky meeting earth, with all of that inside us and in our so-called junk DNA, the DNA of every living species on this planet. We are a walking activation of nature consciousness waiting to happen. So I believe I had 7 minutes, and that's probably it. So I'll just end by saying, what are we here for? If you incarnated right now, whether you think it was a choice or not, you're here for the greatest turning this species is ever going to have, probably. Either for profound waking up, or the deepest level of regret we could possibly imagine when we say, sorry, guys, to our children, go face a child. Say, sorry, I just couldn't be bothered to try. I didn't want to know who I actually was. I threw in the towel when it all looked too difficult. Or you just go, hell yes, bring it on. Here we are. This is what I've created for myself. This is what I want. I want to wake up. I want to know who I am. I want to know what's possible. I want to know what everybody is capable of through radical shared responsibility and humility before the magnificence of what a human being is, which we can discover if we're willing to drop what we've been taught we are, because it's nothing to do with what a human being actually is. This is not us. And there we have it. Mwah.
Boom. Big boom. I just want everybody to take 30 seconds to digest the power of what you have just shared so eloquently and so powerfully. Let's breathe it in. Let's digest that.
Love is all.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you. There is, I am going to go to her website briefly. Her website is the work that she's been doing, treesisters.org. Let's support it. Absolutely. At the very least, immediately sign up, give them your name, email address, get involved. Obviously, Claire's doing incredibly important work. And Claire, I'm going to take that little segment and edit it and just post it because that was such a powerful, and you'll get it in the morning. It'll be on YouTube by tomorrow. My editors, Allen and Son, are great at helping me with that. Thank you so much, Claire. That was very, very powerful.
Bless you. Thank you for letting me speak from my soul.
That you did. That you did. Okay.
We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. We are one. One love. We are one. One love. We are one love, yeah, yeah, one love, 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 one love.
That was a pretty perfect song to play after Claire, wasn't it? And that's how the agenda was set up. So thank you, Jan, for making that video. And thank you again, Claire. And thank you, everybody who's watching, everybody who's participating in this very powerful show. You know, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can still come on into our Zoom room. We have a lot of show left, and then we have an after show. So really want to encourage all of you to please come on in and join our tribe. It's easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. I want to thank all the people that helped make this happen. Unify, thousands of you are watching on Unify. And I also want to acknowledge those of you who are going to watch the recording. Right now, it looks like our numbers are about 35% of the people who end up watching this show watch the recording on YouTube or watch the replay on Unify or on our Saturday Night Live Facebook page. So if you're watching the recording, thank you. So whether you're watching live tonight, whether you're watching the recording, or whether you're extraterrestrials watching from many years from now who say, oh, the turning point was that show, Saturday Night Live, and Claire spoke, and that's when it all shifted. However, and whenever you're watching, you're all welcome. And still join globalpeacetribe.com, okay? And we do want to thank all of our broadcast partners. Thank you so very, very much. I also want to thank Soul Solutions, who is helping to sponsor tonight's show, and you can hear all about them in a little while. And now to share more with you, here's Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And yes, amazing show tonight. And thank everyone who's donating to Purpose Earth. Incredible organization, and it's really going to make a difference. And also pointing out, you can also sign up for monthly donations, would really help them be sustainable. I'm going to continue to post that in the chat room. So please, everyone, donate. And also, we'd love your support with Saturday Night Alive. Really, it's all of you and so many other people that have come in to help that has helped us to produce this show every Saturday night. Part of the way you can help us is promote. We have promotional videos. I'm going to post some in the chat room, and they're always in our email of upcoming shows or our trailer. And if you post them on social media or just send them to friends and encourage them to join, that would be really, really helpful. Or maybe you'd like to sponsor. We are always looking for sponsors every week. This is an incredible way to get your message out far and wide to those people that are really helping to support health, harmony, and peace on the planet. That's what the Global Peace Tribe is about. Or maybe you'd like to volunteer and be a part of us. Or maybe you'd like to be a part of the team. We're always looking for someone who has a superpower around marketing that can really help it get out there. So if so, please, please share with us and please join us. And also, we have a season 7, A Glimpse of Heaven shows. We've got 2 more shows for October. And Scott is going to share with you about the next show next week.
Great, thank you. And I was showing everybody the Q code, by the way. So while you were speaking, we do have a Q code where you can donate to us, which we always appreciate. So next week's show is going to be very, very powerful. It's important. And I should probably put the spotlight on myself. It's all about honoring our body temple. And we're going to bring back Deepak Chopra, one of our favorite presenters. And we've got some real leaders. One of the things that we do on this show is we present some of the old favorites, the older guard, if you will, like Deepak. But we also like to bring in the next generation, the new scientists, the new thinkers. And we have a lot of people like that next week who are going to be letting us know all the latest about neuroscience and our body temples and all that we can do to create greater health, greater harmony. So definitely join us next week. And I'll be showing a promotional video a little bit later in the show. And we're very excited about it. And then on October 30th, we have our All Hallows Eve show, and this is now kind of our second time around. So we're going to make it an annual tradition where we celebrate All Hallows Eve, Sacred Samhain, and the Day of the Dead. And we're inviting all of you to come in costume. Yes, you in the audience, come in costume. And we're going to arrange to put those of you in costume on camera during our early show and part of our after show. So that's going to be really, really, really fun. So definitely join us for that. And I also want to encourage everybody to come to the event that we're doing on Sunday, October 24th. We have probably, we have like these amazing musicians like Larissa Stowe, who's with us tonight, that come back every week, or not every week, but like once a month. And Kristen Hoffman and Cornflower are right up there with Larissa as super popular musicians. Everybody loves them. And they are like the king and queen of looping. And they really got it down. They did an event together. They met through Saturday Night Live. They did an event together that was a big hit. Everybody who came to it was blown away. And so they're going to do another one on Sunday, October 24th. Deborah is putting the registration link into the Zoom room. And they take us on a journey that's very powerful. Their music is very, very powerful. And you get a chance, if you haven't heard them, they will both be playing one song each on our show next week. And then you can come on and participate in their all-day event. So there's that. We also have the Twin Rays are coming back, and they're going to do a special event with us next Saturday, October 23rd. And I will pull up a poster on that. To be honest, one of my windows crashed, so that's why I'm a little bit behind on a couple of things. So I'm going to turn it back over to Deborah, who's got a little bit more announcement to make, and we'll see you in a moment.
Thanks, Scott. And I wanted to let people know that we have booked our November shows, and they're going to be amazing again. November 6th is going to be honoring the relationship of Gaia and humankind. And we work with amazing collaborators to do our shows at times. We are co-producing with Deborah Moldau of Evolutionary Leaders. We're going to have Gary Zukoff, Catherine Woodward Thomas, Kahontawas, Diane Longboat, and David Nickel of Gaia Earth. So we're going to explore the deep relationships of ourselves and our relationship to our human family and Gaia. On November 13th is going to be a very unusual show, Technology for Good for the Upliftment of Humankind. We are going to bring in heavy power players in the technology world who are also working in high consciousness to use technology for good. And that is being collaborated with Ruby Ye, and it's going to be amazing. On November 20th, we're bringing back Teresa Collins with Global Coherence Pulse. Her theme is going to be Living in the Current of Your Purpose. And November 27th is Thanksgiving weekend, and the theme will be the power magic of gratitude. So definitely we are continuing the tradition of amazing shows for you. And I will be posting Sonic Source activation in the chat room, which is one of our special events, and the special event with the Twin Rays, which is going to be Life and Relationship as Awakened Humans. They were on our show last week. They're amazing. Please join us for that. And Scott, would you like to introduce your Sacred Sunday and your Straight Talk?
Yeah, I gotta apologize. One of my windows collapsed. Here is the poster for the Life and Relationship as Awakened Humans. I'm imagining that many of you have seen the twin rays on our show. They are amazing, absolutely amazing. And Deborah and I both had the good fortune to spend time with them. We went to Ashland, Oregon to spend a week with them. And I just want to say they're the real deal. They are incredibly generous, and they're awake like all the time. They're like fully present. And they have wisdom to share that's very powerful. So what we're going to be doing on that day, on the 23rd, is we're actually going to have a dialogue with them. And it's going to be done as a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom webinar, but a Zoom meeting. What does that mean? It means that you all will be on camera, if you want to, where you will be dialoguing, and we're going to be listening to them talk about what it's like living as awakened human beings, because that's what they are. They are role modeling our future. You know, what we're hearing today is our challenge, and Clara summed it up beautifully, our challenge as human beings to come to the next level. And Shakina and Sananda are living in that consciousness. It's a wonderful opportunity to be with two people living in that consciousness. They are inspiring, and they're very beautiful and powerful role models. So please do join us for that.
And Scott, our early bird price goes through tomorrow. So it's only $22 through tomorrow.
That's right. So
October
register
17th.
tonight. Like, you know, do it right now. Okay. Definitely register tonight. Get that $22 price, because then it goes up to $33 after that. Last couple of quick things. And I will show the promotional video for next week a little bit later on in the show. But tomorrow morning, I have my Sacred Sunday show, and a really delightful and dynamic woman, Elvira Hopper. She's enormously successful, one of those amazing women who's got children and a husband and several businesses. And we're going to be talking about how to honor and manage our ego. You know, the ego gets a bad rap. We all have an ego. We just need to learn how to honor and manage it. And so it's going to be a fun show. That's at 10 o'clock in the morning next Saturday. Tomorrow morning. And so please join us for that. And also a reminder to always join us on my Street Talk show every Friday night. Next Friday night, we're going to be doing, introducing a new festival that's coming in called the Eros Festival. So that'll be next Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Sacred Sunday is every Sunday at 10 a.m. Okay. And now I need to take a look at what's next on the agenda. It is Vinit introducing our next presenter. Take it away, Vinit.
Well, okay, great.
Introducing Sharif.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Sharif Abdullah, a longtime friend and brother. Sharif is a consultant, speaker, author, and advocate for social transformation, par excellence. His mission is to bring currently dysfunctional systems and structures into alignment with our common human and spiritual values to create a world that works for all living things. As director of Commonway Institute, he has visited over 43 countries and over 100 distinct cultures, giving him a unique perspective on our global human and spiritual issues and a vision which spans culture and class. Beautiful. Thank you, Sharif. Take it away.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me here. I think this is the second time I've been here. And I'm setting my timer as I was instructed to do. I want to share some things with you in about 10 minutes that really takes about 5 or 10 hours for us to go through. But because this group is so fast, you're going to get everything. What I want to start with, though, is start us thinking about what's the problem. We can't get to the solution without knowing what the problem is. We have an idea in our society that we've got these problems. Our problems are not what you think. Our problems are larger than climate change, larger than racism or sexism or homophobia or any of them, larger than COVID, larger than politics, and larger than just about anything else. Our question is, what is the problem? I think this guy nailed it pretty well some years ago. This is the late Václav Havel, the president of the Czech Republic. And in my book, Creating a World That Works for All, Havel wrote this introduction. Humankind today is well aware of the spectrum of threats looming over its head. We know that the number of people living on our planet is growing at a soaring rate. We know that the already deep abyss separating the planet's poor and rich could deepen further. We also know that we've been destroying the environment on which our existence depends, and that we're headed for disaster by producing weapons of mass destruction and allowing them to proliferate. And yet, even though we're aware of these dangers, we do almost nothing to avert them. Now, that introduction was in my book 20 years ago. Since that time, we've had an awful lot of studies. We had an awful lot of forums. We've been talking about this thing over and over, and we're going to do some more studying about this. The problem is we haven't even begun to scratch the surface on the problem. When I was in college and getting my undergraduate degree, I was at Clark University, which is known for psychology, which means I studied rats an awful lot because everybody knows that rats and people act alike. One of the things that we did an experiment where you put rats in a large metal cage. You make it large enough, you put enough food in there, you put enough water in there, and two rats will cohabit with each other. Then you send a mild electric shock through the floor of the cage. Immediately, when the rats feel this painful shock, they will start to attack each other. All they know is, I'm in pain, there's another rat. That rat must in some way be causing my pain. Let's make one of the rats white and one of the rats black. And we stand on the outside of the cage and say, oh, gee, white and black rats can't get along with each other. Well, they were getting along with each other fine until you put the shock through the cage. Let's change these from rats to human beings. And we stand on the outside and say, oh, the left and the right can't get along with each other. Or the whites and the blacks can't get along with each other. Or the climate deniers and the climate pro folks can't get along with each other. And none of us are asking the question, number one, what is the nature of this shock going through our cage? And number two, how do we turn it off? So our challenge is to actually see the full iceberg. All of us know that 9/10 of an iceberg is below the waterline. We keep talking about things like global climate change or Black Lives Matter or COVID or any of these other issues while we ignore the mess. Now, the mess is a term from my book where I talk about our interlocking and the challenges that are driving us, the human race, to extinction. So what is the mess? When you start looking at all of these things together, you start seeing the magnitude of our problem. Holes in the ozone layer, political corruption, homelessness, pandemics, a decline in basic values, urban deterioration, civil wars, political and social alienation, overuse of fertilizers and pesticides, militarization of outer space. If you get nothing else from what I'm saying, please get this. What this is not 50 problems. What this is one problem with 50 presenting symptoms. Once you cure the one problem, all 50 of these you can address Until you solve that one problem, none of it can you address. And that one problem is consciousness. The problem isn't global climate change. The problem is the consciousness that created it in the first place. Since the problem is consciousness, it has to be accepted and dealt with at the level of consciousness. Our challenges, both personal and global, cannot be resolved by the consciousness that created them in the first place. The significant problems we have cannot be solved with the same level of thinking with which we created them. Now, Einstein said that a long time ago, and yet we keep asking the people who create the problem to uncreate it. We get nowhere with it. Greta Thunberg is going to be a grandmother before the folks that are our current leaders are going to get around to actually addressing the problems. So our challenge is, how do we get to that point? Because if the problem is consciousness, the solution is consciousness. Once we shift that consciousness, giving birth makes sense. I don't know how many of you have been involved in the birthing process, either as a mother or as the hand-wringing father on the sidelines. That would be me. But you know it's a messy, nasty, it's a mess. But because you know there's a baby at the end of it, you get the process, you say, okay, this was worth it. And you sign up to do it again and again and again. Our challenge is to hold a vision. Reducing the amount of carbon in the atmosphere is not a vision. It's not even a good idea. It's not something I can get my mind around. Our emerging vision is creating a world that works for all. We're about to give birth to a planetary consciousness. If you don't know that you're giving birth, you focus on the problems and you don't focus on the solutions. Our vision of a world that works for all living beings is the thing that should drive all of our solutions, including our global climate change solutions. Our challenge is for us to get in step with the earth, get in step with each other, and use all of that energy for us to get in step with all of our solutions. Thank you.
Sharif, you took me by surprise.
Well, you said 8 minutes.
Oh, God bless you.
Now,
Thank
listen,
you so much.
I got about 2 hours. I can keep going. But yeah, you said 8 minutes. So that was it.
You know, Sharif, I would love to actually invite you to be on our Straight Talk show where we can really go in depth with you for a good hour and a half. And I'll send you an invitation tonight. And I'd love to schedule that because you do have a lot to say. And I agree. It is about raising and changing our consciousness. And your analogy about birth is absolutely right on. And until you see him on Straight Talk, which will hopefully be in the next few weeks, his website is commonway.org. Sharif, is there any particular place here you want to direct people to?
Well, we're doing a new series, a 12-week series on the 12 steps of inclusivity. Most of the time we don't live our lives because we're so afraid of the other and we're afraid of the conditions that are out there. So what I'm inviting people to do is to move past your fears and to move past the fears in such a way that we can that we actually can tackle our problems instead of making them worse. So if they click on activities, they will go to
yeah, there it is.
Well, It's in there somewhere. Yes.
I found it. Yes, sir.
And I will look forward to those who wish to actually spend time looking at how do we get past our fear, even our fear of climate change. How do we get past our fear of each other? How do we get past our what's dividing us? And how do we do that in such a way that we can literally awaken a brand new human consciousness on the planet?
Beautiful. So I noticed that it starts on November 9th. It's a 12-part series, and there's a very good discount if you register soon. So definitely go there. And again, if you go to commonway.org, then click on activities, and you'll find practicing the 12 steps of inclusivity. And that looks beautiful. And definitely, let's arrange to have you on the Street Talk show before then, so that people can learn a lot more about that course, because it looks really fantastic. Thank you so much.
Very cool. Look forward to it.
Good to meet you. Good.
Yeah.
Vinit was singing your praises, and now I know why. Thank you so much. All right. You know, so many things go into making this show happen, as you can imagine. And I want to really acknowledge right off the bat, we do have a sponsor for tonight's show that's helping us to make this happen, and that's Soul Solutions. And Deborah found Soul Solutions, and they are really exactly that. They are creating solutions that are very, very important. So I want to take a few minutes to share with you about what they're doing and how we can all support them and also be benefiting from what they do. Let's start by taking a look at this short video.
The old ways of doing things are failing us. Clearly, our grid-oriented power system is not keeping up. Hi, I'm Chaz Peeling of Soul Solutions, and we're giving communities and businesses the chance to take back their power. For the past 13 years, we've been designing, building, selling, and renting solar battery power systems that gives communities and businesses the clean, green, and silent power they want. From individuals that need temporary power for their off-grid property or tiny home, to contractors who need to power a job site, to soccer teams that light up the night without loud noise and the dirty smell of a generator, to powering a disaster hub for a community in emergency. Soul Solutions welcomes Raise Green investors to join us in providing mobile solar power equipment to keep our lives and operations running smoothly. We are in extreme crisis, our country and the world, and we cannot wait for a large institution like our utilities to fix the problem. We need deployable, ready-to-go power now. Join us, and let's take back control of our power.
Soul Solutions has also put together a PowerPoint presentation, which I am now going to play. And it's short, but it's very powerful what they're doing. So let's take a look here. You know, they really are providing an important investment opportunity. And so for any of you that want to invest in the future, please go, and I'll pull up their website. I know that Deborah will also be putting it up on the in the chat box. And let's go to the next one. Now I've got it on. Oh, now how come the slideshow isn't working? I'm on slideshow. There we go. And it's supposed to move every time I click the space bar. I even tested this today. All right, well, we're going to try a different approach here. What we'll do is, while let me try that again. I'm going to take a breath. And I do appreciate all of you, your patience, and what we're doing here. Let's go to their website. And as you can see on the website, they are looking for people to invest. They provide climate resilience convertible notes. And I want to share a little bit about what I've learned. They've been providing solar generators, solarizing RVs, tiny homes, off-grid places for over 14 years locally here in Northern California. That's where Deborah and I are. Soul Solutions has been dedicated to sustainable event production by introducing their equipment for power to local events, including the beloved Harmony Fair, which of course Deborah ran for 30 years. But they also have been providing production equipment to Bioneers. Vinit was talking about Bioneers a few minutes ago. There are big shows coming up in November, Earth Days, and other community events and festivals. Soul Solutions has been working on real transitions from fossil fuel polluting equipment to carbon emission-free solar power for this whole time. They are dedicated, and that's, we've gotten to know Lindsay and Chaz, and they're all about it, and this has been their life for many, many years, just like all the speakers we've seen tonight. And as a result of what they've already done, they've eliminated tons of climate-changing CO2 through their processes. You know, along with the climate change initiatives, they have been actively supporting community resilience projects for backup power to help us during the disasters and the outages that we have here in California. My home had an outage last week for 3 days because of Pacific Gas Electric shutting things down because of the winds and the fear of fire. So please help this company to expand. Let's empower companies like this that are clean, they're green, and they provide the quiet, good, healthy options for our community and our world. Please support their crowdfunding launch right now. And again, you can find out all about it at this website, which is invest.raisegreen.com. invest.raisegreen.com. The video you just saw is there. A lot more information is there. The investment terms, and let's support them. This is really, really important. We're really fortunate that on this show, we get to meet the amazing people that are changing the world. And some of them are activists, and some of them are the people that are creating new opportunities, like we just saw with Soul Solutions. So let's do that. I want to continue to share a little bit also about Purpose Earth. But before that, we have a really fun after show that's going to take place tonight. And so Jay put together a little video about the after show, because the after show is pretty much his. So let's take a look and see what's coming up at 8:30 tonight. That's going to be interesting. And he's got, again, some wonderful speakers that are going to be joining us. Brook Medicine Eagle and another Native American wisdom keeper. So thank you, Jay. We're looking forward to that show. I'm going to bring up the QR code again for Purpose Earth. And I want to, again, encourage everybody, if you haven't donated yet, please do. It's really easy. You can go to purposeearth.org or get your trusted camera out on your cell phone and head towards the dinosaur. And you will see a little opportunity to click the URL and to really support this amazing organization that are doing great work in the world. Again, Deborah and I are very selective of who we have as speakers, who we have as presenters, who we have as sponsors, and we really believe in Purpose Earth. So again, I'm going to go back there. Let's really support them, okay? And again, if you missed, because I know a lot of people kind of came in late, they are providing grants to individuals and small organizations that are dedicated to changing the world. One of the people that they're supporting, you're about to see a video of her, and she has a remarkable story. I've heard it a couple times. I've heard her speak. She was working in a sweatshop in Nepal, and was rescued. But as she describes the conditions, it's really remarkable. So let's take a look at this video all about one of the people that they support.
And this is the time that we need to let go of all of our barriers and the things that told us to not do, and let go of everything and really participate in oneness, humanity, and really care for each other.
So that young lady, her name is Nasreen, and she is a survivor of modern day slavery. Sharif was just talking about how we all have to be one global family. One of the things she pointed out, if she didn't make enough, she was at a sewing machine, and if she didn't make enough clothes, she didn't eat, she wouldn't be fed. And that there are 40 million children around the world currently in her condition. Purpose Earth is dedicated to stopping this modern day slavery. And Nasreen and the people that basically rescued her have created an organization called the Empowerment Collective. And that's one of Purpose Earth's grant recipients. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to eradicating exploited labor, forced marriage, and extreme poverty. So that's one example of the organizations that Purpose Earth is supporting. So that's why when we support Purpose Earth, it gets out and helps people like that woman that we just saw. I have one last video that I want to show for Purpose Earth that'll give you a little bit more information.
Purpose Earth, an initiative supporting purpose-driven people and projects around the world. Join them in helping social entrepreneurs and community leaders launch their dreams into motion at purposeearth.org.
So I've brought my partner, Deborah, on to see if she has anything else she wants to add. And thank you, Deborah, because you found Purpose Earth. And the more I get to know what they're doing, it really touches my heart and connects so much to what tonight's show is all about.
And I just want to thank everyone who's donating. I'm seeing your comments in the chat box, and it's really important for us to take action now. And a lot of us can't get out there and do everything, but this is something simple we can do. Just, whatever you can give, whatever your money is that you're not going to spend on a bagel or whatever else. We have so much money we spend on so many things. And if we just take a little bit of that and channel it towards Purpose Earth, it's really putting into action what we're talking about tonight. So again, deep gratitude for supporting. And the best thing you could do is give a monthly donation, because then they know and they can depend on a certain amount of money coming each month that they can give out to these incredible organizations and people that are committed to bring solutions into the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah. All right, we have just a couple more pieces left in our main show, and then we've got this very interesting after show coming up. I want to acknowledge Lori Grace. I was hoping she could join us live, but I don't think she's with us. Lori has been a sponsor for our show. She is a tireless activist, and she is very dedicated to helping us understand what's going on in our oceans. And so she put together, along with Allen and Son, our wonderful editors, this pre-recorded video for us tonight. Lori, tell us why you're concerned about the state of our oceans.
Well, I already knew that our oceans and the fish in them are contaminated with plastic and mercury. And so when people eat fish that is contaminated, it's not good for their bodies. But I became much more interested, and I was going to create an organic, and still am, an organic food, fish here in Maui, and we are raising some, and they've won double-blind taste tests. But what I discovered with the movie Seaspiracy was that the fish that we catch, the commercial fishing, including the commercial fishing that creates the tuna that people eat in ahi burgers on Maui or wherever else, and sushi, is the result of the bycatch is of hundreds of thousands of dolphins and sea turtles that die. And that Earth Island Foundation, the head of it, was interviewed in the movie Seaspiracy about that there's no such a thing as dolphin safe tuna. And then when the filmmaker went and followed the money, what you're able to learn was that the fisheries pay dolphin safe tuna in Earth Island money to label their tuna dolphin safe, so buyers will not feel so guilty about eating tuna in sushi restaurants or buying cans. And it's all a game. It's what the fisheries use, much like to get people to eat more tuna, just like the plastic industry. They do their little recyclable triangles. It's all a design. And I was horrified by this. There's currently 300,000 cetaceans, that means whales and dolphins, dying every year because of commercial fishing for tuna. And a good portion of the plastic in the ocean is from fishing nets. And the fishing nets catch a lot of dolphins in them. You can also catch dolphins in longline fishing, 100 miles out from the Hawaiian Islands, right here. Longline fishing, and sometimes they go as long as 60 miles, mostly in other countries, is you put a hook that's baited with fish about every 4 to 5 feet, and then you lay out the longline fishing for miles, and then fish bite it, eat it, and then eventually are hauled in, including the dolphins.
It's terrible.
So that's disturbing. And I think people who eat sushi need to begin to change their habits if they care about dolphins and whales and sea turtles. That's the other one that goes.
And so what are the forms of sushi that we should give up?
Ahi, tuna, yellowfin, bluefin, all of them.
All forms
Because
all forms of tuna.
yes. Well, one of the ways that I'm going to try to make it easier is by developing fish that are delicious and not contaminated with mercury and plastic like tuna are, and involve no bycatch. And that is with ethical farm fishing. And, I anticipate marketing them, even though we're very small, marketing them, studying the system of the cost per unit, and then marketing it as an alternative, because the future of fishing is in fish farming. It's also the future of jobs for human beings who are involved with fish. Because we're going to be running out of fish with all the bycatch that happens with all the different fishing fleets by 2040. The countries that are involved in this are almost all of them. In fact, France, who you'd never think is creating by fishing for tuna, they kill 10,000 dolphins every year in their bycatch.
Wow.
And that's only one small part of the 300,000 that die. But I mean, I never thought that France would be that kind of a country. Japan and Norway. And in the movie Seaspiracy, I learned that the phytoplankton that produce 3/4 of the world's oxygen are nourished by the movements of fish, whales, and dolphins, and also by their feces, as is the coral. And if we just sweep up and eliminate all these, whatever fish are in the ocean, with our superior technology, what happens is that we kill the ocean, we eliminate the ocean, and we have a death of the phytoplankton that produce 3/4 of our oxygen. So if we really are going to be facing the end of commercial fishing by 2040, and that when you throw a line in the water, you'll be very lucky to get anything, we will be breathing oxygen that is substantially less in quantity and substantially more carbon dioxide. So what kind of happens with that is a kind of sleepiness, a brain fog, and lack of energy. So that would be the kind of atmosphere we look forward to in 2040. So this is why when I tell people about this stuff and they say, oh, I don't eat fish, this doesn't concern me, and walk away, they don't realize that both vegans and other people, we all breathe the same air, okay? So I am very concerned about this. I'm just very sad that the fishing industry is hiding this. It's all considered highly confidential how much fish you pull from the ocean. There isn't public data.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you very much, Lori Grace, for all that you do in all sorts of different ways. And I also want to thank Alan and Son for the wonderful job they do on editing our promo videos, this video with Lori, adding B-roll, just helping us to visually understand what she's talking about. So Alan and Son do a great job. They're actually with us. Dr. and Mrs. Future are their alter egos. Well, you know, we always like to start and end our shows with music. And I'm so grateful. One of the original musical artists we had scheduled for this week had to cancel at the last minute. And God bless Larissa and Benj. They came through as always and with flying colors. I love you guys so much. And thank you for being with us tonight and helping us to close out what's been a very, very powerful show.
Thank you, Scott. And this is Richard Hardy over here, our beloved Richard.
Thank you, Richard Hardy. Your flute is so beautiful.
Thank you. He plays it pretty nicely too.
That was good, Benj. That was good.
I just wanted to also share that I was so inspired by Claire earlier too. That was incredible. And one of the things that when she was bringing up how we as humanity, we have this opportunity right now to shift things. And that is so in my heart that I know that we can do this if we raise our vibration. It literally is, it's like shifting into another dimensional frequency when we start to raise our vibration, which really just means opening our hearts more. Because as everyone on this panel today, like everybody's speaking from a place of passion because everyone here loves the planet. We all feel our interconnectedness to Mama Gaia. And so we sing, we chant to open our hearts. We gather together to remember that this world could change like an instant. You know, the issues that we're having could shift so fast if we were to link our arms and link our hands together and shift the way we're thinking for the planet. So I just wanted to add that to what everybody did. It's just been so beautiful. I've been so inspired by all the speakers.
Thank you. Thank you, Larissa, and thank you for all that you do. And we'll talk a little bit about that after your song.
And I invite everyone here to join in this. It's not a mantra, but it's a chant in English. When we call back our hearts, we call back our spirits, we do raise the vibration within ourselves and within the world around us. Calling back my spirit, I'm calling back my heart, I'm calling back
she's calling me. The river returns to the sea. Come home, she's calling me. Just trust the wind beneath your wings. I'm calling to my spirit. I'm calling to my heart. I'm calling to my spirit. I'm calling to my heart. Come home, she's calling me. The river returns to the sea. Come home, she's calling me. Just trust the wind beneath your calling to my spirit, calling to my
He did it again. So beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Love you guys so much. I do want to let people know about a couple of things. Larissa has a wonderful, wonderful program that she does with her Shakti Love Warriors group on Facebook. It's a live meditation, and they always drop in at 11:11, but it's good to come on at about 11 o'clock because really it goes from around 11 till 11:30. And it's different people leading meditations. Sometimes we're lucky and Larissa sings, but she always has wonderful people coming in and participating. And it really is a wonderful daily community event that happens. So thank you for doing that, Larissa. It's really, really wonderful.
Well,
And also, oh, go ahead.
I have to say it's been like one of those things that just kind of organically sprung up, you know, from quarantining and feeling the need to just drop into meditation on a daily basis and with each other, you know, where we can feel that sacred community together, moving into that place of spirit.
No, it's a beautiful service that you provide. So everybody, you can find it on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and pop in Larissa's Shakti Love Warriors group. Then the other thing I want to point out is her single, and it's Let Your Love Flow. Is that showing up properly? Yes, it is. Okay. Again, her music is so beautiful, and you've got this wonderful new single, Let Your Love Flow. Go to larissastowe.hewnow.com.
That was actually inspired by Mark Sims, and you know, he's been doing to educate and illuminate the world about our brothers and sisters of the stars, the ET.
Well, we love Mark, and I know you did a couple of wonderful, wonderful videos with Mark. So, all right, I promised Jay that we would finish at 8:30. We're at 8:33. So, God bless you. Thank you so much, Larissa, and your wonderful Shakti Love Warriors, Richard, Benj. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and stick around. I hope you enjoy the after show. And I want to thank everybody who put this main show together. It's been very, very powerful. Thank you, Vinit. Thank you, Deborah. I'm going to just go to gallery view for a moment so we can see all the people that are still with us. There's Matthew with his wonderful 11-year-old daughter, this is who this show is all about. It's for you. It's for the next generation. So thank you, Alan and Son. Thank you, Vinit. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, everybody, for putting this amazing show together. It's really been very, very special.